From the Clippers to Toronto is now on hold. That's due to the ongoing NBA investigation into whether the Clippers went around the salary cap by funneling money to Kawhi via his $28 million endorsement deal with the green banking company Aspiration. The Raptors say they still want this trade to happen, and they're going to wait for the probe to conclude, which the NBA said should be in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the Clippers released a statement on Thursday saying, quote, "We recognize the uncertainty this has created and the impact it has on our team, our fans, the Raptors organization, their fans, and the players whose futures remain affected while this process continues. We remain confident that when the facts are evaluated fairly and thoroughly, the NBA will confirm exactly what we have said from the beginning. We have not done what we have been accused of doing." Brian Windhorst, Vince Goodwill here to break it all down. Windy, let's start with you, because when the talks came about this Kawhi trade and this looming investigation, that was always a huge question that was on the table and the impact this could have on this thing playing out. So can you share more with us on where this stands with the NBA and their investigation, what this whole thing all really means?
Yeah, so from what I am told, before the Raptors entered into serious talks with the Clippers, they contacted the league office and asked about this scenario. And the league office said two things that are important to realize. One, they would not block or stop a Kawhi Leonard trade. However, if there was a trade, the Raptors or whoever team acquired Kawhi Leonard would have to deal with any penalties that he was given as a result of this investigation. So this development is not new. What I suspect the Raptors and Clippers did here, especially after hearing from Adam Silver at the finals that it was getting time to wrap up the investigation, is that they believed that the investigation would be wrapped up by now. The Clippers have maintained their innocence since the start, and so they went ahead with it thinking that by mid-July it would be done. It's mid-July and it's not done. And so the Raptors, they've been negotiating with Kawhi Leonard on a contract extension. Kawhi Leonard came to Toronto, took and passed his physical, was there posing for photos this week when Kyle Lowry retired and the team announced his number was being retired. But they hadn't done the deal yet. And so the Raptors had to take this step because people across the league were wondering just what the hell was going on.
It feels like he's functionally already a Raptor. We saw on June 30th as this trade was being put in the works. He was at the Blue Jays game and now obviously at Kyle Lowry's retirement. So, Windy, let's say something comes down here, some sort of suspension for Kawhi. How could that potentially affect his trade value and what the Raptors might be willing to pay or not pay in this circumstance?
Well, let's be 100% clear. The Clippers still want to do this trade badly. They're getting a whole bunch of draft capital in this deal. The Raptors, in their statement yesterday, said they were eager. They want this trade to happen. But if Kawhi Leonard faces a real penalty here, we could see the trade terms reopened. And I think that's what the Raptors are trying to protect themselves. But on a certain level, they're protecting themselves from the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, Vince, let's drill down on that a little bit more. So if he gets suspended, how would his value be reduced in the eyes of the Raptors? How could this potentially toothpaste get put back into the tube but still see the trade go through?
Well, if you're the Raptors and you want to load manage Kawhi Leonard, sometimes, a 25, 30 game suspension, that might be just what you need, right? But seriously, the problem.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the latest news in the NBA, and I know I'm not alone. The trade that would send Kawhi Leonard from the Clippers to the Raptors is now on hold, and it's all because of an ongoing investigation into whether the Clippers circumvented the salary cap by funneling money to Kawhi via his endorsement deal. I mean, can you believe it? The NBA is investigating one of its own teams for potentially cheating, and it's putting a huge trade on hold. As I delve deeper into this story, I have to ask, what does this mean for the future of the NBA? Is this a sign of a larger problem, or is it just a one-time mistake? The Clippers have maintained their innocence since the start, but the fact that the investigation is still ongoing is telling. I think it's clear that the NBA is taking this very seriously, and they want to get to the bottom of it. The Raptors, on the other hand, are still eager to make this trade happen. They've been negotiating with Kawhi Leonard on a contract extension, and he's even been spotted at Raptors events, including Kyle Lowry's retirement ceremony. But, if Kawhi faces a real penalty here, we could see the trade terms reopen. And I think that's what the Raptors are trying to protect themselves from, the unknown. I keep thinking about what Brian Windhorst said, the Clippers still want to do this trade badly, and they're getting a whole bunch of draft capital in this deal. But, if Kawhi Leonard faces a suspension, his trade value could be reduced in the eyes of the Raptors. And that's a big if. I mean, how would his value be reduced, exactly? Would the Raptors be willing to pay less for him? Would they try to renegotiate the terms of the trade? As I ponder these questions, I have to wonder, what's taking the NBA so long to conclude this investigation? Adam Silver said it was time to wrap up the investigation, but it's still ongoing. And what does this mean for the future of the league? Is this a sign of a larger problem, or is it just a one-time mistake? I think it's clear that the NBA is taking this very seriously, and they want to get to the bottom of it. But, as Vince Goodwill pointed out, the problem for the league is twofold. Most importantly, Steve Ballmer is on the other end of this, and he has more money than everybody. So, even if you have the most cursory sort of perfunctory penalty that you place on the LA Clippers, Steve Ballmer's going to sue you. And that's a big problem. The league has to have everything lined up, because they know litigation is coming. I keep thinking about the implications of this investigation, and how it could affect the league as a whole. Is this a sign of a larger problem, or is it just a one-time mistake? I think it's clear that the NBA is taking this very seriously, and they want to get to the bottom of it. But, as the investigation continues, I have to ask, what's next? Will the Clippers be penalized? Will Kawhi Leonard face a suspension? And what does TH is mean for the future of the NBA? As I continue to follow this story, I'm reminded of the complexity of the NBA. It's not just a league, it's a business, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And with that comes a lot of scrutiny, and a lot of pressure to get things right. I think the NBA is doing the right thing by investigating this, but I also think they need to conclude it quickly. The longer it drags on, the more uncertainty there is, and the more it affects the teams and the players involved. I'm curious to see how this all plays out, and I'm sure I'm not alone. The NBA is a league that's full of surprises, and this is just another example of that. But, as a fan, I want to see the league get it right. I want to see them take this investigation seriously, and I want to see them conclude it quickly. Because, at the end of the day, it's not just about the teams or the players, it's about the fans, and it's about the integrity of the game. As I wrap up my thoughts on this, I have to ask, what do you think? Do you think the NBA is handling this investigation correctly? Do you think the Clippers will be penalized? And what do you think this means for the future of the league? I want to hear from you, and I want to continue this conversation. Because, at the end of the day, it's not just about the NBA, it's about the fans, and it's about the love of the game.